From Blu-ray on the historic Oxford Square, this is RebTalk on the Ole Miss Sports Network from Learfield, in partnership with SuperTalk Mississippi Media. RebTalk is brought to you by Blu-ray, Oxford's upscale down-home restaurant on the square. C-Spire, official wireless provider of Ole Miss Athletics. By Coca-Cola. Fans, there's magic when we cheer together. Let's create some magic with an ice-cold Coke. Cheers. And by Chantil, the official apparel partner of the Ole Miss radio team. Now, let's go live to Blu-ray on the historic Oxford Square. Here's the voice of the Rebels, David Callum.
Hello and welcome. Oh, wow, blew this table away, didn't I? The Kiffin clan blew away. Hey, how's everybody doing here at Blu-ray tonight? Man, we got a crowd. We got LSU coming up in here. Who wants to beat LSU? That's what I thought. Any LSU fans in here? You need to exit stage right. We're going to say some stuff about you. Well, I guess you can listen to radio here, the same thing. Hey, I'm David Kellum. I'm looking forward to being with you here tonight. And we've got Coach Lane Kiffin will be joining us here in just a moment. Look forward to that. Jackson Dart's going to be here from the football team as well. Rebel quarterback coming here tonight. And we've got Ole Miss Golf. We'll be introducing them in just a moment. Y'all give it up for Ole Miss Golf. Yeah, baby. Coach Malloy. And he's got a player we're going to talk about here in a moment. And also give it up for my man, Brandon Hudspeth, who's got us under control over here.
What's going on, DK?
Man, just hanging in there.
Yeah.
Tell me what you've been up to this week.
Licking wounds.
Yeah.
You know, took a tough one on the chin last week. But
we got that score early, and I thought,
yeah.
right. But, man.
You know, you leave that game going, man, a lot of missed opportunities. But, again, it is what it is. You go on the road, you play a really tough Alabama team at home. You knew that was going to be a tall task by itself. And again, the first half, things go our way. You feel like maybe you should have had a few more points, but again, you got to play the game. We talk about it every week.
Yeah.
So, we come home, but really big game against LSU. A night game again. We got a lot of stuff going on around it. We're completely out of tickets. It's been a sellout for a long time. Huge crowd on the square tonight. Huge crowd this weekend. So, got to bounce back and just, again, play the next game.
You know what's amazing about the LSU game? If you're from Oxford, those of you from Oxford, and we got them at home, you hear from relatives that you haven't heard from since the last time LSU was here.
That's right.
That's amazing. Wanting tickets. I had to tell them all no.
That's right.
Don't have any going. Okay, if you want to be part of the show tonight, we got a plan there too. Big Hud, tell them what they can do.
So we got a few different ways you can participate. If you're on your drive home and want to jump on Facebook Live and you're listening, you want to ask a question, you can get in Facebook Live. Go to facebook.com/Ole Miss Athletics. You can hop in the live stream there and ask a question. If you're in the room here, we have Brock and Evan passing around slips. You can write your question on a piece of paper with your name printed neatly. We had some issues in the past, printed neatly, and we'll do our best to get those on. And then the third way is if you're on Twitter or X, you can tweet at Ole Miss Network, which is our general account that we both kind of check. You can tweet directly at DK, at RebVoice, R-E-B Voice, or at B_HUD, HUD. Any of those will get you on the show. I had a couple tweets at me after we finished the question segment last week, so sorry I didn't get those on, but if you tweet me directly, good chance you're
You
getting
can answer it yourself afterwards.
Well, probably not that question.
I shouldn't. Oh, really?
Yeah, I couldn't answer that question.
I got you. Hey, we're going to take a break. We're at Blu-ray. We appreciate the staff here. They do such a tremendous job of taking care of us here on the historic Oxford Square, as we like to call it. When we come back, we'll have more Rep Talk as Ole Miss Golf's in the house.
Bouret is Oxford's upscale down-home restaurant on the square. Now for more Reb Talk, here's David Callum.
And thank you, Dean, and welcome back to Bouret. We're going to start our show tonight with Ole Miss golf. We're so excited to have head coach Chris Malloy. Y'all give it up for Coach. Great to see you again.
Great to be here.
Okay, I've gotten you 3 claps so far. So
I mean, this is similar to the tournaments we traveled to, the golf claps. I mean, that was pretty good.
That was pretty good. Hey, we're so glad to have you here tonight. You brought one of your players, Michael Lasasso. Y'all give it up for Michael. He's a transfer from NC State. He's from North Carolina. He's here in his second year, right? Sophomore?
Yes, sir.
Sophomore transfer. So we got him for a while and has just played lights out. I noticed from NC State to here, improved that stroke a little bit, huh? That
Absolutely.
per round stroke is better.
That's why he's here.
That's why you came to Ole Miss, get it figured out, right? But anyway, we're so excited to have him. Last year had a fantastic year, first-round performance at the Water Sound Invitational, had the lowest round of the season by any NC State golfer. In high school, he was ranked number 2 junior in North Carolina in the 2022 class and ranked number 38 in America in the Junior Golf Association class of 2022. Yeah, no doubt. We are so excited to have him part of our golf. And I'm going to start with Coach Malloy just in general. Tell us about him. What does he mean to your program?
Well, he's great. You know, he's here for a reason. You know, we had we felt we had a solid foundation with our sophomore class or freshman class from last year. Had an opportunity, you know, you see a guy come up on the transfer portal with the name like he had in the resume. It's a no-brainer, right? I mean, you know, I think we were one of the first. We were talking about it last night on the way back from Birmingham. One of the first to reach out. Couldn't get in touch with him quick enough, and I think through the first 2 tournaments, you've seen why. He's made a resounding difference to our team, and again has led us in both tournaments.
Michael, what led you to want to come to Ole Miss?
I found that the culture of Oxford and Ole Miss is unmatched. Mm-hmm. There's nothing really like it around here.
Well, we agree with that, don't we? Yeah.
And just kind of talking to a coach like Coach Malloy and Coach Emerson, that there's nothing that they don't have. And I think that their experience with the game of golf in general is just impressive. And so I'm excited to be here.
So what age did you pick up a golf club and start playing golf?
Later than you think.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Usually they say 2 years old, 3 years old.
Yeah. I started seriously about 8th grade.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is kind of late in the
That
world of
is,
golf.
yeah.
You've been to Knoxville. You just recently came back for it's called the SEC Preview, I think. Talk a little bit about those 2 events and
Yeah,
how you
great.
feel about the team.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we want to play some harder tournaments in the fall, figure out where we are right out of the gates, you know, and there are wide varieties of, you know, philosophies on scheduling, and you can ease your guys into it and make it as easy as possible. And, you know, I think Michael's going to laugh about this, but we don't make anything easy on our guys, right? We want every day in practice to be tougher than when we leave for a tournament. He hears me saying this all the time. But it's the same with our schedule. We want to know where we are right out of the gates. And I think we'll probably have 5 top 10 teams in the country, in the SEC. So we want to play them, and we want to butt heads with those guys and, you know, right out of the gates and figure out where we are, right? And even if that means us getting exposed, which we did to a certain extent this past week, we want to know that now. And we also, I think it's cool to be able to compare that because we know we end the season at the SEC Championship in Sea Island playing those same teams. Right. So I always think it's nice to go, okay, here's where we were at the beginning of the year. Look at where we've come.
Is this a new thing with the SEC?
You know, we had a 3-year agreement to do, and it started as the SEC match play, and it was a little bit of a cluster. So then we went to stroke play, different format last year, and then this year. So, you know, it's just kind of like we got out there and we're beating our heads against each other, you know, for a couple of days. Again, which was good. That tournament, unfortunately, is going to go away. We'll replace that with something else. But it's nice to see all the teams and kind of meet over there in Birmingham and play Country Club of Birmingham West Course. Anyone that's been there knows how special of a treat that is, and a great test of golf. So it was fun.
How do you feel about your game, Michael? What do you think about your game personally?
I think it's good. You know, I think it kind of really correlates with what Coach Malloy looks for. You know, I say this now, but nothing really ever goes super wrong, which is always a benefit. So.
We can make him go in the back if you want to really say something.
Hey, I agree with him.
What year for you now? This is.
That's a great question.
You don't
2014, nine.
People ask me all the time,
yeah,
too. I don't have a clue.
Ninth-ish.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Hadn't gotten fired yet.
Yeah, well,
hang in there, baby.
Hang in there. You go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay around long enough.
You got a good team. You ain't getting fired this year. You got a good bunch.
But in
Don't
all
keep guard of
seriousness,
that.
you take over in 2014, and I think one of our initial conversations, we were talking about like what do you have to do to get to the next step? And you always said, look, it's about the players. Mm-hmm. Like I can put them in lineups and I can set the top 5 or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's about the players. And you've consistently started to gain more and more traction. Just came out last week, top 10 in the country in the collegiate golf rankings, which I've been here a long time. I don't ever remember that high of a ranking for the men's golf team consistently in the top 15 to 10. What is that step to get from 6 to 1? Now, obviously, the obvious answer is win more tournaments and whatever. But in your mind, what is that next step for the golf program?
Yeah, it's a great question. And you're right. It was funny. We were talking about this coming back from Birmingham yesterday. It really is. If you're going to build this the right way, I took this job in 2014. This is my forever job. I don't want to go anywhere else. I want to lead this place to a national championship. We've had an individual national championship with Braden Thornberry. Our women have won the team national championship. That's what's next for us. But I would say, to answer your question, there are a handful of teams. I mean, I think once you get to the top 10 at the end of the season, anything can happen. The year our women won, they weren't the number 1 ranked team in the country, but you know what? No one could beat them that last week when it really mattered.
They were
and
hot.
You know why? Is they were really, really tough. If you remember watching them on TV coming down the stretch and when it got to match play, they were the toughest team by far. That's what we preach each and every day. I want the toughest team. So if we can get the talent, if we get top 10 talent, we have that. And we can be tough by the end of the year. We're not tough enough yet, but I think we can be by the end of the year. If I can get a bunch of tough guys that just want to get out there and compete, don't have to look pretty, I'd like to see where the chips fall at the end of the year.
To your point, a couple years ago, you were in the top 8 in the team match play, which, again, you survive and advance that. Mm-hmm. And you're in the team national championship finals. Yeah. And so, you talk about being right on the cusp. It's just pushing through that door.
It's just such a fine line, once you get down to the end of the season. And listen, we had a really, really, really good team last year, and we didn't get out of the regional round. We didn't get to finals. Didn't change the way I thought about that team. We just, unfortunately with us, like I tell our football coaches, it's like coaching a bunch of kickers at times, right? I mean, they just have a tough week. This guy may be, fighting his butt off, but it just has a tough week that week. And with our sport, there's so much parity. It's such a fine line. You just got to be clicking. You got to have a little bit of luck, but you got to be clicking on all the right cylinders at the end of the year. But the one thing is, if you can be tough, that's what you can control. If we can be that, we're going to be really tough to beat. And I think we're going to give ourselves a chance.
I need Michael to knock on
when
some
you
wood.
think about here, just in recent years, we get individual natty in men's golf. We get an individual natty in women's tennis. We get team championship in women's golf. We get a national championship with Bianco on the baseball team. How did that, kind of go through the entire athletic department and say, hey, wow, you can get it done at Ole Miss?
I tell my guys 2 things. Winning is 2 things. Winning is fun. We all know that, right? That's easy. Winning's contagious.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's different sports. It's within, just an athletic department in general. But I got goosebumps thinking about it. It's winning is very, very contagious, and you continue to set the bar, and just being around those guys. Like if they're up at Grill 1810 and they're just around the baseball team that's just come off it, these guys can share some information with each other. With our women's team, being in the same building with them, they walk in every single day, they see that team national championship, trophy sitting over there. There's something to that. Right? There's something to go. Because when I got the job here, the biggest knock against us was, in recruiting, why would you go there? They never won a national championship. Can't say that anymore.
Right.
Right? They don't have any guys out, in the pros, but can't say that anymore.
Right.
So we're kind of, crossing those boxes.
Chopping
checking
stuff
those
down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I think we're just now getting there for both our men's and women's program to go, okay, what's your excuse now, right? I mean, of course we can be successful, and it's not just us blowing smoke. It's, we have the receipts to prove it.
Michael, I talked to some of the football transfer portals about, you make that step, you roll in here. As a freshman, you're new, I get that. But to do it again as a portal transfer and try to, build some relationships with your teammates and all that, was that hard or easy for you when you arrived at Ole Miss?
Pretty easy, I'd say. I knew most of the guys on the team pretty well just from competitions outside of school. And they kind of were just like, hey, if you go into the portal, why not come talk to us? And I was like, Oxford sounds like a pretty cool place. I don't know the coaches too well, but I like the guys on the team, and I know they're tough. And so that was just kind of like a good step for me.
So what would you charge B. Hud to help him with his game, Michael? Do you have a fee? Or
Yeah, I think being on the show is just good enough.
just being on the show is good enough. Hey, you're in business, baby.
The fee, I don't know, it'd have to be unlimited. Probably.
We're
not just hand you a blank check.
We're not miracle workers.
Hey, coming up, you got the Fallen Oak Collegiate Invitational in Biloxi, Mississippi. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we're excited. This is the first opportunity we've had to be a part of hosting a tournament in our home state, and so we'll try host that with Mississippi State, Southern Miss, and combine forces there. It'll be a good field. This tournament will continue to be one of the elite tournaments in all of college golf. This will be the first year of it, so looking to go down. Auburn will be there, and they just won this tournament where we were, so looking to get a little payback on them and end the fall season on a strong note.
Now, I know there's a lot of rivalries in the state of North Carolina, and we've been talking about natties. But there's natties, and then there's finishing higher than Mississippi State, Michael. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So you remember that. You get on that first tee box. Isn't that right, B. Hud?
That's right, yeah.
You got to finish ahead of them boys
That's
on
right.
a regular basis. Hey, look, we're so excited. Appreciate you. I know you and Coach Kiffin are buddies. And you want to talk some football? You got any plays you want him to run?
Well,
Coach
during
Malloy?
commercial break, I have a couple of suggestions.
Okay.
But,
Give him some help over there. That's for sure. Hey, y'all give it up for our golf folks here. We appreciate them. And Michael Sasso and also Coach Malloy. And good luck with this event in Biloxi. Looking forward to it.
Thank you
man.
very much.
More RebTalks coming up. We do want to remind you, since we're talking about golf, that you can still get on the Ole Miss golf course. And, gosh, the weather's going to be like in the upper 80s over the next 2 weeks. But call today for tee times or download the new app that they've got. And you can follow them on social media as well, or go online to OleMissGolfCourse.com. More Reb Talk next on the Ole Miss Radio Network.
Hotty Toddy Ole Miss. More Reb Talk from Boo-Ray on the Square continues now. Here's David Kellum.
The freshman Perkins is checked in the game at linebacker. There's the snap on third down. Bill Rowe runs to his right, wants to throw it. He's in trouble. He's sacked back at the 30-yard line, and it's Centarian Perkins, a freshman from Raleigh, Mississippi, who got there and got him. Rebels take over the 25-yard line. Gun formation for Dart. Got Judkins back there, fakes to Judkins, wants to throw, lobs it to Wade. He's wide open here on the sidelines of the 40, 45, 50 to the 40, knocked out of bounds around the 35 of Alabama. That's a huge play and a big first down for the Rebels. Dart is back in the game. He's got an empty set, 3 receivers left to the right. He wants to throw. Quarterback draw, straight ahead, untouched, into the end zone. Touchdown, Ole Miss. 3rd and goal from the 18 for Alabama. There's the snap, fresh up the middle. He wants to run, steps on the pocket, hit and drop back at the 23-yard line. Wow, Rebel defense with their backs against the wall, got a break on a bad snap and took advantage of it, and they're going to force Alabama to kick the field goal. Waiting for the snap, there it is. He has time in the pocket, looks, fires toward the end zone. It's going to be intercepted. The Rebels pick it off in the end zone. It'll be Zachary Walton, and that will stop the tie. Some of the highlights from this past game and our weekend review is presented by friends at Graduate Oxford. You can start your game day off right. Visit Graduate Oxford, just steps away from University of Mississippi's campus. Whether you're in town for a big game or a local Rebel looking for some pre-tailgate grub, Graduate Oxford is the smartest place to stay for the Ole Miss fan. Everybody give it up for Rebel head coach Lane Kiffin, who's in the house. Hey, Coach.
How we doing?
Doing good. LSU in town.
Yeah.
You know, we heard some of those highlights. There were some positives from the Alabama game. We had an opportunity there, but just couldn't quite pull that one off.
Yeah, we were ahead at half and screwed up a lot of things, and but we can't change that now. We got to learn from it and get better. And it's one game, and now we're back home, which we've been pretty successful here at home, and so we're excited to be back in front of our home crowd against a really good team.
Don't want to steal questions from everybody else, but I'm going to steal a question from somebody, I'm sure. Perkins, wow. Playing really well.
Yeah, that was awesome to see a true freshman, much like their Perkins.
Right.
Actually, in our game, was the first time that he had played a really significant role a year ago, and they put him in, and he made such a difference, like our Perkins did last week. So that was awesome to see.
They're not related, but gosh, they look a lot alike. I mean, they cover a lot of ground.
Yeah, they do. They're really fat. They're kind of like DBs and linebacker bodies. So. That's good for us, but now we got to prepare against theirs, and he's by far their best player and probably the best defensive player in the SEC.
This LSU team is really, really good. I watched the Arkansas game. Arkansas hung in there with them, played them really tough, but they've got a great quarterback, obviously.
Yeah, that was a really good game, and Arkansas's quarterback, KJ, made 1 million plays and kept things alive. But LSU's offense is one of the top 5 offenses in the country, and they got weapons everywhere, so we're going to have to play really good.
He'll run, he'll throw, it's amazing, and it seems like he can do what he wants, when he wants, that kind of thing. But it's been fun to watch him mature. It's not going to be fun to play against him, but it's been fun to watch his game get better as he's progressed in the SEC.
Yeah, he really came in and kind of at first had some up and down games, and then now he's been really consistent and played really well, and even when you cover everybody, he gives you problems running. So these are exactly the quarterbacks that are hardest to deal with. They can throw really well, and they run well.
Hey, did you talk to Coach Malloy on the way in? Did you get a chance to say hi to him?
Yeah, he told me that I didn't do a very good job last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's blunt like that, isn't he?
He is. He's like, who's calling those offensive plays? Those sucked. I'm like, that was Charlie Weiss.
Yeah. Had nothing to do with me. Hey, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we do have some questions, a bunch of them lined up, so we're going to go ahead and jump into that. Your questions for Coach Lane Kiffin. We come back to Boo-Ray here on the Oxford Square.
Bouret is Oxford's upscale down-home restaurant on the square. Now for more Reb Talk, here's David Callum.
Hey, True Care is changing the healthcare game to help Mississippians live their best life by combining the experience of a national health plan with the local knowledge of Mississippi health providers. To learn more, go to truecare.ms. And Country Pleasin' Sausage, family-owned company in Florence, Mississippi, is a proud supporter of Ole Miss athletics. They're now being served in concession stands. Vaught Hemingway, just say Country Pleasin', please. All right, one of our fans brought this. I promised I'd show it. You remember when Katie was here? Oh, wow. Yep. Of course, it's a little confused. She was here for the Alabama game, right? And she threw the Bama guy, the mascot thing, the jiggy, on the floor, right? Okay.
That's correct.
But then we beat LSU 38-17. When they were talking about LSU in that segment, she held up a corn dog. Somebody prepped her, right? Her manager's an Ole Miss guy. So anyway, there's Katy Perry, coach.
There you go.
Not your favorite singer, or maybe?
She's good.
She's good. All right. I guess we could leave Katie. Well, Katie doesn't need to bother. All right, Katie. Guy said to give that back. I was going to auction this, but he said no. Okay. No. All right, let's get some questions, B. Hud. What you got, my friend?
First question is from our live stream here for Coach Kiffin. Says, what do you think it'll take to get Quinshon going a little more? Looked like he ran hard against Alabama. What do we got to do to get him going harder against LSU?
Yeah, that would really obviously be a big key to our successes, getting our ground game going. It's not 2 weeks ago was pretty good, 300 yards I think against Georgia Tech, but other than that, it's not been very good this year, and that's been a staple since we've been here more than anything. Passing, defense, special teams, has been running the football. So it'll come, and needs to come this Saturday.
Yeah, we've talked about that in the past. It's kind of one of the misconceptions about Lane Kiffin offense, because they think throw, but you have really, committed to running the ball in your career for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, our 3 years here, over the 3 year span, we're number one in most carries and yards running the ball in the SEC. So, but that doesn't matter now. We got to do it again. So we got to get back to playing really well.
Okay.
We're getting a lot of scheme questions.
Okay.
Weeks prior it was a lot of how's juice?
Correct.
That's
what happens when you score 10 points.
Right.
Everybody
now,
now.
every question's if we're running a 2-5-7, question that was printed and brought to the show, which is pretty nice. No names, so can't give any credit. Do you think it'd be advantageous to incorporate more of a short passing game to then open up more of a run passing game, pass to run, as they say?
I agree with that. We were very big little, so that's a fair assessment. And when you're kind of taking chances, you end up with some negative plays and some sacks and not as many completions. So sometimes it works and you get really explosive pass days, and when it doesn't, you get out of balance and a lot of third and longs. So that's not good.
All right, what else you got?
Question from in the room here from Tripp. He says, how important is this game for the team's confidence for the rest of the season?
Well, I don't know about all that. I mean, it's a long season. This is a huge game, and it's the next game that we're playing. It's the only one that matters. So it's great to have a performance we weren't happy with at all last week, and to be able to have a big-time opponent the next week, snaps you out of it and gets you focused. So this will be exciting. We beat these guys last time they were here, and so that's our plan again.
Question here from Heather in the live stream. She says, the student section has been rocking the last 2 home games. Are you hoping for the same this weekend? And does it help the players when they see a full student section?
It does. That was really exciting in the home games for the student section to be like that. I think the numbers actually were better than they've been in years, even for big games.
Yeah.
So that was awesome to see. And I guess we have a really big freshman class, I've been told, which is helping that. So starting a good direction of trend of full student sections.
You know what's the freshmen, pledge classes have to go out there and save all the seats. But what's cool is they're there when he arrives with the team at the stadium, because they're there so early. And so they just go crazy when the team comes in. So I'm sure they went from, God, this really stinks, to, hey, this is cool.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think Coach should go blazer, khakis, like the pledges one game.
Yeah, that's not really my deal, but maybe.
Holt says, what did Alabama do in the second half that led to us not being able to score more points?
Well, I think it was more about us. I don't think we executed very well. We had some missed signals, some, drop ball, missed throw, and an inability to run the ball well. So that is a recipe for disaster anywhere, but especially at Alabama. I mean, you guys have seen it for a while. That's a tough place to play. I actually think that Ole Miss are now 3 and 30 at Alabama over time. So, that's the recipe for disaster if you don't do it well, and we hurt ourselves.
Before the game, we were down on the field. Their offensive line, when they first arrived, with no pads or anything, just walked by us, and you're like, wow, gladiators.
Yeah, that was not warm-ups. Don't look down in warm-ups last week or this week.
Okay.
They're going to look a lot better than us in warm-ups.
Hey, you got Prescorn back and Franklin on the offensive side, and I know they were limited, but I know you're glad to get them back. Are they okay and ready to continue on?
Yeah, they were limited, and that's a big deal for our offense. When you start playing really good defenses and you don't have your weapons, we've seen that happen here before. We lost Mingo going into Alabama 2 years ago,
right,
and went there, and it was 35-7 or something like that. In the third quarter, we were down. So hopefully we'll be back to full strength Saturday, and we were playing really well on offense, before we had some injuries. So excited to get back to that.
Caden was one of the, I thought, the better guys in camp, transfer portal that came in with a lot of experience, and man, had a great camp before he got the injury.
Yeah, he really is very valuable and kind of does everything. And, when Trey Harris was healthy, he was playing as the best receiver in the country.
Right.
He's played 8 healthy series, and we've scored 7 touchdowns, and he's scored 5 of them himself.
Right.
In the 8 series that he's played before he got hurt. So it would obviously be a big factor to get him going.
Yeah, and you used him kind of like goal line, I think, when he got close.
Yeah, he was not near 100%. We tried to throw him a couple of fades and didn't work out. So he'll be better this week.
All right. What else you got, B-Hud?
Got a question and even a scheme from your number one fan, Jeb. He's jumping in on the mix here. He says, at what point in the game plan, when the run game's not going, do you just say, okay, we're going to start passing? Or is that ever really a thought process until, I guess, the clock would come into play there? But
yeah, it kind of doesn't work like that. But unfortunately, you get a feel. And, everybody can say just run the ball. Well, if you're at halftime and you're 1.8 yards per carry, it's hard to keep running. So a lot of that has to do with the success of it.
Hey, we're going to take a break, come back with some more questions here. You got some family here tonight.
Yes.
Mom's here tonight.
Yeah, she sure is.
Hello, Mom. How are you? Yeah. Sister's here.
Yeah.
Daughter's here.
Look at that.
All together.
One big happy family.
Good.
And one big happy family and Thad.
Uncle Thad.
Uncle Thad.
That's Dr. Thad.
Dr. Thad.
Yeah.
But we're glad all you guys are here, too. Hey, we'll take a break. More with Lane Kiffin when we come back to Boo-Ray on RebTalk.
Hotty Toddy Ole Miss. More Reb Talk from Boo-Ray on the Square continues now. Here's David Callum.
Gentile's official apparel provider of the Ole Miss Network. Check out their new collection of Ole Miss apparel now at gentileapparel.com or at Landry's just across the square here. The next time you're in Oxford, Gentile Apparel is a proud partner of Ole Miss Athletics. So I'm wearing Gentile tonight.
Same.
You got Gentile. You got the powder blue with the M. I got the red with the M. This is the this year version.
You got to support.
Landry's across the way. You can get you one too. We'll get a free lunch out of saying it twice. Is that right?
No.
And you can score $10 in bonus points. Hotty Toddy fans, sign up online for the Exxon Mobil Rewards Plus program with the Ole Miss code WINOleMiss at emrewards.com or on the app to get this $10 signing bonus for a limited time. We got head coach Lane Kiffin, and we've got also Jackson Darks coming up here in just a moment. Looking forward to visiting with Jackson. We got a few more questions for Coach Kiffin. What you got?
We do. We're talking about family as we went to break, and Debbie from in the room has a question about your family here. It says, what is your dad's role and how much does he contribute to game day scheme and preparation?
Monty.
He did a great job around the office with younger coaches and players, and has always been a good mentor and takes a lot of his time out for the younger guys. So really does a lot more with our younger coaches.
Kind of unique that you're able to have him here, right?
Yeah, it's really cool. We've been able to have him at 3 places, and that's been really special and really awesome.
It's kind of interesting, too. He's a brilliant defensive mind, and you've been on the offensive side for years as a coordinator and all, but and Chris, you know, has been a coach, too, so the whole family's been pretty serious about the world of football.
Yeah, I didn't really think of it that way. I'm the only offensive person.
That's right, yeah.
Kind of the outcast of the family.
The outcast of the family. Is it in other areas, too, where you're the outcast of the family?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah, that's fair.
I love it. Mama says yes. What else you got?
Question about Oxford. It says, what's it like living here compared to other places you've lived in your coaching career?
That's a softball question.
From London.
It's awesome. And Landry had to just go to their Kappa event because we have to have a
saw her
sorority
exit.
event like every single night still.
Yeah.
But I always like what she said when people ask her, like, why did you move here? She obviously didn't have a job. Like, you know, she didn't move for a job. She said the people. You know, because she'd come visit over the 2 years, and she was always like, just the people are so amazing, and so it's always neat to see her and her friends like come here and walk out, and then not only did she choose to come here for high school, then she chose to stay here for college.
Right.
You know, it says a lot about the people here.
She got some friends quickly in high school and fell in love with Ole Miss. It's kind of cool, and it's amazing you got a college daughter, though, right?
Yeah, but it's awesome. I mean, yesterday was out at practice, and her and her friends were walking out there, and you just see them, and something that I think you appreciate more as you get older. I tell our younger coaches that have young kids, you know, like, okay, they come running out, and you're like, all right, I got to get to the next meeting. I said, just take some time with them because you'll appreciate it more when you're older.
Yeah, no doubt. Important. You got another one?
I do. A question from in the room, Brian Abrams from Scottsdale, Arizona.
I talked to Brian.
To come for Reb Talk.
I talked to him before.
Appreciate him coming. Big show. I'm glad he's here. It says LSU secondary had 2 games where they were lit up. Do you chalk this up to bad games, or do you think they're vulnerable in that position?
They have had, you know, some guys have moved the ball on them. Now, I think a lot of that last week was the quarterback making plays with his legs. But they have some new players and new corners, and so, you know, we'll see.
Had a couple questions in here specifically about the QB room. We're having Jackson on later. And the questions were essentially the same in that, do you see a role or a package of bringing in Spencer to kind of take advantage of some of that mobility of LSU?
I mean, you guys are getting a lot of game plan questions here.
I told you, it's all game plan stuff.
Spencer's done a really good job, and I commend him. It's not easy. He's a 41-game starter that's, you know, sitting on the bench. That's hard to do. But we have great confidence in him, and that he'd do a great job going in there. Jackson moves well, so, you know, if you had a quarterback that didn't move around, you might have packages, you know, for another quarterback that can run well, but that's not the case.
Tell us before we go to break here about Jackson, what he means to this Ole Miss football program, and we're going to have him on here in just a moment. Looking forward to visiting with him and his progress to this point.
Yeah, I'm really proud of Jackson, how he's developed as a leader, and that's hard to do. You come in here and you're from the West Coast, all of a sudden you're in this SEC team, and you transfer in, and he'd been at USC and really leads by example, doesn't do a lot of talking, and has improved a lot, playing a lot better than a year ago, and it's exciting to see.
He's been in a quarterback battle. Everybody competes for the position 3 years in a row, really. When you think about it, he's done good.
Yeah, he has. It's a good way to think about it. So he'd probably tell you he's tired of quarterback competitions 3 years in a row, dating back to USC. But again, he's done a really good job, and I know that none of us are pleased with our outcome last week, and the points and stats. But he's done a really good job, and I think he's going to have an awesome year.
Coach, thanks so much.
All right, guys.
We appreciate you. Jackson
See you
Darts
Saturday.
next here at Boo Ray. All right, we'll be right back.
Boo-Ray is Oxford's upscale down-home restaurant on the square. Now for more Reb Talk, here's David Callum.
Extra yards on there to get us out of that hole.
Yeah, 15-yard gain. It ends up being quarterback draw by Dart. He's got room to 30, 35. He breaks into clear. He's to midfield to the 45, heading to the far sidelines to the 30, 25, 20. One man there is going to knock him out of bounds inside the 10-yard line, and the Rebels are in business. Hey, we got to start calling it the Dart draw. What do you think? He had a dart draw against Alabama. Y'all give it up for Jackson Dart, Rebel quarterback.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate you being here, man. Good to see you. So we go out wide. You're by yourself, run a quarterback draw, get a 10-yard touchdown. Celebrate a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. And I know I watched Coach Saban this week, and he said, I don't know what we're doing there. Every time they go with empty set, they run a draw. They still didn't stop you, though, did they?
No. Wish we could have got a few more.
Yeah. Tough game, but, we had some bright spots in the course of that game, too. It's a tough place to play, too.
Yeah, no doubt. I think going into it, we definitely had higher hopes than what it was, so it was disappointing how it ended. But, just like the experience, it was cool to play in a stadium and environment like that for sure. And, we're going to rebound this week.
Hey, tonight's player interview is brought to you by our friends at Guthrie's Chicken at 1506 University Avenue. We encourage you to go there. They can help you out with tailgating stuff. And their number is 662-380-5522 for all your catering needs. And Jackson's from Kaysville, Utah. and ranked number 6 nationally in total offense and number 8 in yards per pass attempt at nearly 11. He's on the Unitas Golden Arm watch list. 65, 103 for 1,096 yards, 7 touchdowns, only 2 picks so far. I love it. He said he's not going to have any more of those. You had a really good camp. And like I told Coach Kiffin a moment ago, this has been 3 straight years where you've been in, a battle like everybody is, multiple positions. Seems like the quarterback position draws all that attention. But you had a really good camp, and I think you've carried that into the season.
Yeah, no doubt. I kind of knew coming off of last year, just how excited I was for the next season. And I think sometimes people don't understand, the growth that you can make from year 1 to year 2. So I was really excited to get into camp and show my abilities and continue to develop in the offense.
Getting pre-scoring back, we talked about that. Franklin's coming back, came back last game, kind of limited. We need to get Trey back where he's 100%. But those would be 3 huge weapons for you, wouldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. All 3 of those guys are huge impact players that can, really turn a game the other way. So can't wait to get those guys back and get them rolling because, they're super dynamic with what they can do with the ball in their hands.
Running a year ago seemed, and B. Hud and I were talking to Coach Kiffin, seemed so easy and wonderful, and everybody's focusing on that now to try to slow that. What do you think we need to do to maybe increase the running game the rest of the way?
I just think we need to get our guys' confidence back, just kind of reestablish our identity on the offense of just being a balanced offense. Everybody saw what we did last year. I think this year, we're able to do a lot more things in the passing game just with more experience and, just the talent around me. So, I think the biggest thing is just getting our confidence back on the offensive side of the ball, throwing it. And, once we get that going, it's going to be really difficult to stop.
You kind of have this cool, calm, collective demeanor. Every time I've ever been around you, whether it be radio show or media ops, you're always just kind of this guy, just calm. But when you get on the field, it's like you have another gear. It's like this competitor comes out, and you're screaming, you're getting guys up. What is that switch that you turn on? And you saw it at Tulane. We were on the road back, and I said Jackson Dart won that game for us at the end of the game. He just kind of took over. What is that switch that you have to turn on to kind of get yourself going and just become that competitor? And Kiffin talked about it last week. That he's seen more competitive fire out of you this season than previous.
Yeah, I just think the biggest thing for me is just how much I love the game of football. So I just really get really excited when I'm out there, and anytime I see the guys around me make big plays, and we put so much work into it in the off season that you got to celebrate your successes. So I just love being out there with the guys, and we put in so much work, so it's super fun to be out there and succeed.
You've always been a confident player, I know, because you're gifted and got some good stuff going. But do you feel like now that, hey, there's not a throw I cannot make at this stage in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. I just think that kind of just, like I said, tributes to the off-season work and stuff like that, and being able to get reps in with your guys. And yeah, it's really fun to have the talent that I do have around me. So I have a lot of confidence that when the ball's up in the air, the guys are going to make plays from me. So got to give a lot of credit to them.
All right, the two Perkins are not related, but this dude, man, last year, woo! Oh, Harold Perkins, he was all over the place. So make sure somebody blocks him, okay?
Yeah. He's definitely I think, like, for me, I kind of said to some of the coaches last year that was kind of like my welcome to the SEC moment. It was just playing a guy like him. You don't really get that a lot in the Pac-12, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So, he's extremely talented. He's a freak on the defensive side of the ball, and a big key to our offense this week is of slowing him down.
Overall, their defense, what do you think about it?
Yeah, they're super talented, play really hard together. Obviously have a lot of talent, and, they're coached well. They keep it pretty simple, and just kind of let their talent, do the talking, I would say. So, they pose a lot of problems with their abilities, but I think that we have a really good plan coming into this week, and, we just really want to rebound from last week.
All right, before we let you go, there's the bump music. We got to go. All right, we talked about the student section. You were here last year. This year, it's like, wow, you're an Ole Miss student. How does it feel looking up there and seeing your classmates?
Oh, I love it. Just them being able to come out and support, creates a different environment for us and gives us a winning advantage. So just love the excitement around the football team this year, and I love the support. And, they play a huge role in our success.
Jackson Dart, everybody, Rebel quarterback. Good luck with LSU, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming up. We'll have some wrap-up thoughts when we come back.
Hotty toddy Ole Miss. More Reb Talk from Boo-Ray on the Square continues now. Here's David Callum.
And welcome back one last time to Boo-Ray. Brandon and I are going to wrap it up here. B-Hud, great job with all those questions. You had a bunch.
Did. I didn't get to a lot of them. There's
Look
like
at that pile.
probably half a pile I didn't get to.
Okay,
And
he'll
some on
answer
the
those,
live stream. So
like we said,
sorry.
later tonight.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to this weekend. Well, y'all give a round of applause for Joseph Kennedy. He's our engineer here locally. Does such a wonderful job. He's raising a kid that's less than 2 years old, and so life is hard for sure. Dave Pulaski in our studio at Winston-Salem. Thank you, Dave. Dave's our main baseball guy, does a great job, and is play-by-play guy himself as well, so we appreciate Dave. And, of course, B-Hud and all the other people floating around. Saturday, Ole Miss at LSU, 5 o'clock kick, and airtime for us will be 3 o'clock.
It's a big one, DK. You know, and not to put too much pressure on one game, but again, it's the next game on the schedule, which is important, but it's also the next SEC West game on the schedule. And it's a rivalry game, the Magnolia Bowl, as it's referred to in some circles. And so it's a big day for us to come out and prove that we are the team that people think we are and to get back on the winning track. So we've got to go out, we've got to execute, we've got to stay on track on offense. Defense, I thought, played really well on the road. Just by the time we got to the end of the game was a little gassed. And again, the hope is that if we can play in all facets of the game, that we can come out with a victory.
Yeah, we didn't really ask Coach Kiffin about that, but time possession, number of plays.
Right.
went in
Alabama,
their
I mean,
favor.
yeah, the time of possession was crazy.
Right.
Excuse, yeah.
And sometimes that's okay with us as we score quickly.
That's
but
right,
It seemed
yeah.
like the defense kind of wore down. But nonetheless, we move on to LSU. That'll be a huge challenge, and we'll see if we get after those Tigers coming up Saturday. Again, 5 o'clock will be kickoff, 3 o'clock will be our airtime. And we'll see you next Thursday night prior to the Arkansas Razorbacks. Have a good evening.